I started my No More Waiting to Live movement because people were doing just that, waiting to live. When I lose 5 pounds, I'll take headshots. When I lose weight, I'll get on stage. When I lose weight, I'll buy a new wardrobe. And it goes beyond just losing physical weight. It's the weight of imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs, and it's all the things that hold us back. And the truth is, if you want to have an amazing, incredible life, you have to stop waiting to live. Everything that you are looking for in your life will come to you in the act of doing. So start now. Don't start when you're perfect. Don't start when you think you're ready. Start now, and I promise you that in the action of doing, you will get everything you need to have an incredible success. In December, Dan and I got to actualize one of our business dreams. We did our annual work retreat in the Dominican Republic. And while there were far more karaoke nights and pool parties and adventures, we did just enough work so that we could write it off. Okay, so one day we did a day trip to Saona Island. We got on this little rickety boat with 50 strangers, and we flew across the ocean in the waves, and we stopped off the island. We were supposed to get in and frolic and drink. Now, when we got there, Dan was the first person in the water. And I looked over the side of the boat. There was like 2 little metal strips, one rung, loosely screwed on, and I thought, if I go in this water right now, I don't think I'm going to get back on this boat. I was maybe 30 pounds heavier than I am right now. My knee was fragile. I definitely didn't have the upper body strength to pull myself up out of the water. So I stayed on. I was so jealous because I loved to swim and it was super hot. Well, 5 minutes later, Dan dances over with his margarita. And in true Dan fashion, he says, "Rina, what's coming up for you right now? Like, what's going on? Let's discuss this. Let's work through this together." And I said, "It's not that deep. Like, I just don't think I'm going to get back on the boat." And he said, "Rina, everyone's going to get back on the boat. Look around. There's other bigger people. They're not going to leave anyone behind. Even if they have to, they'll haul you on." Oh my God, haul me on. Can I tell you that is my worst nightmare? Can you imagine 50 drunk tourists watching as 2 young guys are trying to haul an ample, mature woman in her bathing suit over the side of the boat? No, absolutely not. Well, shortly after, everyone did get back on the boat, and it was a struggle for many. They had to haul Dan back on. He got back on. Not a worry in the world. He's back, baby.
Then Dan said, "So you're not really worried about getting back on the boat. You're worried about being embarrassed." Yeah. Well, isn't that a limiting belief? You came on this trip to have your No More Waiting to Live journey. Aren't you still waiting to live?
After that, Dan returned home, and I continued on my trip with my 22-year-old daughter. We went to Costa Rica, we went to Guatemala, we went to Peru, and I had Dan's words in my mind. And I thought, I don't want this to be my story. So I did everything. I went parasailing, and yes, that sail took off. And I went whitewater rafting, and I squeezed my knee in a little raft. I went tubing and did buggy trips and ATV tours. I hiked miles up to do breath work at Eagle's Nest. And then one day, I got to conquer a real fear by climbing to the top of this huge cliff. And I am up there. This is like a culmination of all my worst nightmares. Like, I'm in a bathing suit, there's hundreds of people, I have to jump in front of everyone. And I could see my daughter looking up at me. And I thought, I cannot have one more opportunity missed. I cannot shrink one more single time. I cannot let her see me play small one more single time. And so I closed my eyes and I said, "No more waiting to live." And I jumped and I climbed myself up on the rocks and I got up. And I was so proud of myself. Now, tonight we're here talking about leaders. The true leader in this story is Dan. Because Dan has always been a model of possibility. He is the first person in line for everything. He takes every opportunity, and he's not immune from having insecurities like any human being, but he is the first person to push through and make incredible things happen. It's why we're on stages all the time. It's why we're in videos and photos. Even though I say, "Please just let me lose 5 more pounds," he doesn't. We actually hip-hop danced in front of 600 people at the Grand Slam. Some of you were there. I cringe every time I see the video, and he plays it all the time. Right? You play it all the time. Now, together, we run this incredible platform. We've had 1,000 speakers on this stage. 1,000 people who push through their limiting beliefs and imposter syndrome and their fear of speaking to stand right here and inspire and then transform the room and the world. Now, that's 1,000 out of thousands that I spoke to who said, when my book is done, when my website's finished, when I'm a better speaker, when I have more money, more time, more resources. No, those 1,000 people showed true leadership and showed up here. I think about some of the people we've had on our stage, like our 2024 Inspirational Speaker of the Year, Danielle Campo. I think about Marjorie Onos, who I have such a soft spot in my heart for. I think about Jose Perenian, who's here tonight. These are people who push through seemingly insurmountable odds, huge physical and mental challenges to get on this stage. And on the other side of that, book deals and TEDx and paid speaking and launching movements, having their videos seen by millions, speaking in front of thousands. That is true leadership. And that is what I'm so inspired by. So tonight, my message to you around leadership is this. Everything that you want is in the doing. All of those things that I did, those incredible things, had I waited until I was ready, I wouldn't have done one of them. I would have spent 6 months traveling at the beach and at the restaurant in my comfort zone. But the craziest thing happened. In the act of doing that, everything I needed, I got. I lost weight at the end of that. I healed my knee. I regained my strength. I became more confident and courageous in the doing, not waiting to do it. So tonight, I really want to celebrate the 10 leaders who took our stage. They were so brilliant and beautiful. And I really want to celebrate my business partner, who is the consummate leader, who has spent 10 years of his life, every minute of every day, trying to amplify and elevate our speakers. And I hope that tonight, by sharing my own No More Waiting to Live journey, that maybe I can inspire one single woman to take center stage in her own life, to be the leading lady. Because it's important for everyone here to stop being the supporting character in your own life and be the leader. Thank you.